Right now, the world thinks it's staring at an oil crisis. And on the surface, that makes sense. Energy markets are wild. Governments across Europe and Asia are calling emergency meetings, and everyone seems to be panicking. But here's the thing. The real story isn't just what's happening. It's who it's happening to. Let's start with the Strait of Hormuz. It's a narrow stretch of water, but it's one of the most important spots on the planet. About 20% of the world's oil passes through it every single day. People say, if something goes wrong here, the global economy collapses. But that's only part of the truth, because oil shocks don't hit everyone the same way. Some countries take a huge hit, while others quietly benefit. And that's the key. This story isn't just about a crisis. It's about positioning. For years, the old narrative was simple. Instability in the Middle East leads to an oil shock, and the U.S. economy suffers. That made sense 2 decades ago. Back then, the U.S. imported around 60% of its oil. So any disruption caused prices to spike, inflation to surge, and the economy to slow down. But that world doesn't exist anymore. Thanks to new drilling technology and massive shale discoveries, the U.S. is now the largest oil producer in the world. That flips the old story completely. The U.S. isn't on the same side of the trade anymore. It's now in a position to benefit. So who's really exposed? Most of the oil moving through Hormuz isn't headed to the U.S. Only about 2 to 12% goes there. The majority is heading to Asia, China, India, Japan, and South Korea, 75% of it in total. That means a disruption here isn't felt equally. For the U.S., it's mostly a price problem. Oil prices go up globally, which hurts, but it's manageable. For Asia, it's both a price and supply problem. Factories slow down, energy gets rationed, and production stalls. The same event, but completely different consequences. And here's where positioning matters. When supply tightens, prices rise. That creates winners and losers. Right now, the U.S. is a winner because higher prices generate revenue for producers, exporters, and energy companies. But oil is only part of the story. Natural gas is another huge piece. The Middle East is a major exporter of liquefied natural gas, and about 20% of global LNG flows through Hormuz too. Countries like Qatar and the UAE send over 90% of their LNG through this strait. And guess what? The U.S. has quietly become the largest LNG exporter in the world. So while some regions lose supply, others step in to sell it, creating opportunities in energy markets. Now, who's really feeling the pressure? That's China. Even though China has been preparing for these risks, diversifying suppliers, building strategic reserves, importing from countries like Russia, Brazil, and Venezuela, they're still exposed. China consumes around 15 to 16 million barrels of oil per day, with 11 million imported, much of it from the Middle East. In the short term, they can absorb shocks. In the medium term, they draw down reserves. But if disruptions continue, it becomes a structural problem. China's economy runs on energy, manufacturing, exports, industry. When energy flows slow, pressure builds. And here's the kicker almost nobody talks about: timing. These tensions in Hormuz aren't happening in isolation. Trade negotiations between the U.S. and China are at a critical point. Tariffs, technology restrictions, supply chain decoupling. They've been slowly reshaping the world's 2 largest economies. So maybe the story isn't just energy, it's geopolitics. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just a choke point for oil or gas. It's a choke point for leverage, for power. One country can withstand the shock, while another feels structural pressure. And that imbalance? That's where strategy and opportunity come in.